Hey, I'm Brent Ehrler with Tackle Warehouse and Daiwa, and this right here is a rod that I specifically designed for the Tatula Elite series under the Daiwa brand. And this rod I actually had done years ago from a guy in Southern California that was a custom rod builder. And really it was a rod specifically for throwing a chatterbait, a vibrating jig. And Daiwa, when I first got involved, they didn't have any glass rods. And so when they brought up running the Tatula Elite series, that was one of the rods that I really wanted to design, was that rod for throwing a chatterbait. And I came up with this rod. It's a 7.4 medium heavy glass rod. Now I not only throw a chatterbait, I throw a lot of crankbaits on it. And we actually classify it as a cranking and bladed jig rod. And the reason for that is I'll throw a 2.5, a 3.5, a BDS3, a BDS4, sometimes a medium running, a bigger medium running crankbait, maybe a 2.5, but if I do that, I'll go up to the 8-foot rod that we designed. But specifically the chatterbait, as well as a 2.5 and a BDS3, also a LV500. The LV500 is a lipless bait that's pretty heavy. It's 3/4 of an ounce. So a heavier lipless bait is another bait that is great for this rod. But what it is it's a glass rod, which is very good for absorbing bites. Now, one thing that I think happens with the chatterbait is when the fish bite it, I think they clamp down on the blade so hard that when you jerk, I think that you just blow the bait out of their mouth. With a glass rod, I think it allows that blade to fold down, and when it folds down, then the hook has a chance to actually penetrate in the roof of their mouth. So I believe you land more fish with a glass rod than you will with a graphite rod. So that's why I wanted to do a glass rod for chatterbait. So we did this a 7.4 medium heavy. 7.4, I like the longer action because you have just a broader sweep when you're winding a bait. You have more pull on it, you have a broader sweep when you get a hook set. Also, you can cast it farther in open water. Now, it's definitely short enough to where you can skip it around docks as well. I have no problems with it. I did a medium length handle. I like having at least a little bit of that rod butt sitting in my ribs when I'm winding, because I need some sort of leverage when a fish bites to pull on it. Or if you're fishing in heavy grass, you're constantly snapping that thing free. You need a little bit of a butt on there to get in your ribs to give yourself that leverage, more pull to snap the grass free and clear that bait. So a good medium length of butt on it, 7.4, fairly soft tip, and it's a medium heavy, so it turns into a fairly heavy backbone, but it has that glass, a little bit of the glass parabolic feel, but it definitely has that transition from a little bit softer tip to more backbone. So therefore it's better for a chatterbait style bait. But again, works great on 2.5, 3.5, BDS3, several of the bigger crankbaits. I like it for all the square bill stuff. If I'm gonna go to a big deep diver, then I'm gonna go to the 8-foot glass rod that I have and I designed. But for everything shallow, the 7.4 cranking and bladed jig rod is the way to go. And it's available right here on tacklewarehouse.com.